Now, I know folks like to say black people don't stick together, but that wasn't always the case. Because back in 1965, in a small paper mill town called Bogalusa, Louisiana, one man in his community showed the world what unity really looked like, and his name was Robert Hicks. He was a husband, a father, and a factory worker, but most of all, he was tired. Tired of watching the Klan ride through his neighborhood at night, tired of police ignoring calls for help, tired of watching good people get beaten just for trying to live free. One night, word got out that a mob of white men was coming to his house to kill him for letting civil rights workers stay there. You see, Hicks had opened his home to core members, young black and white activists fighting for equal rights, and that alone made him a target. So when he got that warning call, he didn't run. He picked up his phone and called his people. Within minutes, cars started pulling up. Black men, fathers, veterans, workers, they armed themselves and surrounded his home. They stood shoulder to shoulder, guarding Robert Hicks and his family all night long. And out of that movement came the Deacons for Defense and Justice. Now, don't get it twisted. These men were not criminals. They were World War II veterans and Korean War vets who had already risked their lives for this country. They believed in peace, but they also believed peace had to be protected. When police ignored their cries for help, the Deacons patrolled their own neighborhoods. When the Klan rode through towns, they were met with something they didn't expect: resistance. And it didn't stop in Bogalusa. The movement spread to other parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. They protected civil rights workers riding through dangerous towns. They escorted school children trying to integrate classrooms, and they helped families who were being terrorized just for trying to vote. Even Dr. King and the Southern Leadership Conference began to notice. King's strategy was nonviolence, but he quietly respected what the Deacons were doing, because their presence meant marches could actually happen safely. They made it possible for nonviolent protesters to stay alive long enough to be heard. And Robert Hicks didn't stop there either. He later helped integrate the paper mill where he worked. He fought for equality in local unions and stood up to the city's segregation policies. His home in Bogalusa became the first black home in American history to be protected by a federal court order, meaning the government had to ensure his family's safety against local police and the Klan. That was history in the making. And keep in mind, these brothers weren't getting paid. They were volunteers. They knew what mattered: being there for your brother, protecting your people, fighting for freedom. That was worth more than any job could ever pay. Because sticking together, that's priceless. The Deacons for Defense will go on to inspire other groups, from the Black Panthers to later self-defense organizations in the North. They proved that protecting your people wasn't about hate. It was about love, community, and survival. So next time somebody says black people never stick together, or they never stuck together, you remind them about Robert Hicks and the men of Bogalusa. You remind them about the Deacons for Defense and Justice, because they proved that unity was our weapon, courage was our shield, and yes, we really were our brother's keeper. Remember to comment, like, and share, and follow for more stories they don't put in your textbook. Peace.